There's something I need you to hear today, something the world doesn't say enough. Your dream matters, not because it's big, not because it's flashy, but because it's yours. You weren't just born to exist. You weren't made to wake up, go to work, come home, and repeat until the day you die. You were born to create something that outlives you, to inspire, to impact, to leave a legacy so loud that when you're gone, people will feel it. But here's the truth. Most people, they never get there. They carry their dreams to the grave, not because they weren't capable, but because they were scared, scared of failing, scared of being judged, scared of being different. And I refuse to let that be your story. If you're watching this, it's not by accident. This is your sign, your moment, your wake-up call. So before we dive in deep, I want you to make a promise to yourself right now that you'll stop waiting, that you'll stop doubting, that you'll stop playing small. And if this video speaks to you, even if it's just one line, one thought, one spark, then hit that like button, share it with someone who needs it, and subscribe, because we're not just building motivation here. We're building warriors. We're building dreamers who refuse to die with their gift still locked inside them. Let's get started. There's something I need you to hear today, something the world doesn't say enough. Your dream matters, not because it's big, not because it's flashy, but because it's yours. You weren't just born to exist. You weren't made to wake up, go to work, come home, and repeat until the day you die. You were born to create something that outlives you, to inspire, to impact, to leave a legacy so loud that when you're gone, people will still feel it. But here's the truth. Most people never get there. They carry their dreams to the grave, not because they weren't capable, but because they were scared, scared of failing, scared of being judged, scared of being different. And I refuse to let that be your story. If you're watching this, it's not by accident. This is your moment, your wake-up call, your reminder that you've still got time, you've still got a shot, and that dream in your chest, it's not dead, it's alive, and it's waiting on you. So before we go deep, do one thing: hit that like button, share this with someone who's been sleepwalking through life, and subscribe, because this isn't just motivation, this is transformation. Let's begin. You were born with a fire. Don't let the world extinguish it. Every single one of us came into this world with something, a spark, a gift, a calling. You can call it a dream, a purpose, or your why. But whatever name you give it, it's real. And you felt it. Maybe you saw it when you were a kid, drawing in your notebook, pretending to be on stage, fixing things in your house, or protecting the people you love. That dream felt pure, powerful, possible, but then life showed up, and slowly the world started talking you out of your greatness. Be realistic. That's not for people like you. Grow up, play it safe, and little by little. That fire that once burned so bright, it started to dim, not all at once. No, life takes it in pieces. A failed test, a broken heart, a lost job, one disappointment at a time, until one day you stop dreaming altogether. You know what hurts most? It's not the failure. It's the fact that deep down you know you were meant for more, but you settled for less. But I've got news for you: that fire is still there. It never left. It just got buried under doubt, noise, and fear, but it's alive, waiting for you to believe again. Let me tell you about a man named Mike. Mike was a janitor in a high school, worked night shifts. Nobody knew his name. They just called him the cleaner. But Mike had a dream: to become a stand-up comedian. So every night after his shift, he'd go into the bathroom, look into the mirror, and practice his set, telling jokes to nobody but himself. He got laughed at, mocked, booed off stages. He even lived out of his car, but he never quit. Eventually, someone gave him a chance, and that janitor, his name is Mike Epps. Today, he's known around the world. That's the power of holding on to your fire. You see, your dream doesn't have to make sense to anyone but you. People might call you crazy. Good, that means you're on the right track, because the world doesn't need more people playing it safe. It needs people bold enough to chase what sets their soul on fire. You think Elon Musk wasn't laughed at? Oprah, J.K. Rowling, they were all told no before they became names people couldn't ignore. And the difference, they didn't let the world put out their fire. So protect yours, feed it, nurture it, because the most dangerous thing you can do is let that flame go out and live the rest of your life wondering, what if? you know what the richest place in the world is. It's not Dubai, it's not Wall Street, it's the graveyard, because that's where dreams go to die. Books never written, songs never sung, ideas that could have changed the world, but never did. Don't let that be your legacy. You've got this one life, and inside you is something the world has never seen before. A voice, a vision, a light. Let it shine. So from today, promise yourself this: you won't let your fire die in silence. You won't let your gift stay locked inside your chest, and you won't leave this earth with your dreams still trapped inside you. Live loud, live full, and whatever you do, don't you dare settle, don't you dare shrink. And don't you dare die with your dreams still inside you. Fear, that four-letter word, has killed more dreams than failure ever has. See, most people don't fail because they're not talented. They don't fail because they don't have the resources. They fail because they're scared. Scared of what could go wrong. Scared of people laughing at them. Scared of being judged by family, by friends, by strangers who never dared to chase anything themselves. But here's the brutal truth. If fear is driving your life, you're not living. You're just surviving. Fear wants you to play small. Fear wants you to shrink your dreams down to fit inside your comfort zone. It doesn't want you to take risks. It wants you to settle, and if you listen to it long enough, you'll start building a cage around yourself, and you'll call it safety, but deep down you'll feel it. That frustration, that emptiness, that quiet pain of knowing you were meant for more. Let me ask you something. What scares you more, failing in front of people who don't matter, or waking up 10 years from now in the exact same place, haunted by what could have been? Because that's the thing about fear. It shows up when something matters. It doesn't show up when you're doing nothing. It shows up when you're on the edge of growth, of change, of impact. Fear is a signal. And instead of running from it, you need to walk straight into it. There's a man you may have heard of, Jim Carrey. Yeah, the funny guy, the Hollywood star. But do you know his story? His father was a safe man. A man who had talent but never chased his dream. He worked as an accountant instead, played it safe, and then he got fired. That's when Jim realized something powerful. You can fail at what you don't want. So you might as well take a chance on what you do want. That changed everything. Let that sink in for a second, Janny. Even the so-called safe path has no guarantee. So why not go after what truly sets your soul on fire? You think courage is the absence of fear. It's not. Courage is standing up, looking fear in the face and saying, "You don't get to make my decisions." Do it scared, do it unsure. Do it sweating through your shirt, with your voice shaking and your hands trembling. Because when you move through fear, you're no longer its prisoner. You become its master. Every single step you take, no matter how small, proves that fear isn't in control anymore, and that builds momentum. That builds muscle, that builds belief. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to start, because nothing great ever came from staying comfortable. You want to build a business, start with what you have. You want to change your life, take one step in the direction of your dream. You want to be the first in your family to break the cycle, good. Then stand tall and break it, even if your knees are shaking. Fear will be there, let it be, but don't give it the wheel. You know what's more painful than failing? Looking back and realizing you never even tried. Because when you don't try, you don't just lose the dream. You lose yourself, you lose your fire, you lose your fight. You lose that powerful part of your soul that knows you were made for more. And here's the thing, Jenny, you were made for more. So the next time fear shows up whispering in your ear, what if it doesn't work? You whisper back, what if it does? And then move, not when you feel ready, not when the fear goes away. Now, do it scared, do it anyway, because your dream is on the other side of that fear. And you've already waited long enough. People always wait for the perfect moment, the right time, the right age, the perfect conditions. They say things like, I'll do it when I've saved enough money. I'll start once I'm more confident. I'll launch my dream when life slows down. Let me tell you something that might sting a little. There is no perfect time. There never was. There never will be. If you're waiting for the stars to align, you'll be waiting forever. If you're waiting to feel 100% ready, you'll go to your grave full of almosts and maybes. You don't need perfect. You need to move, because while you're waiting, someone else with half your talent is out there making things happen with half the excuses. The truth is, your dream doesn't need a green light. It just needs you to hit the gas. You've already wasted enough time doubting, overthinking, stalling. Now is the time to start with what you've got where you are, with whatever tools are in your hands. Think about some of the most legendary success stories. They didn't start big. They started hungry. Howard Schultz grew up in public housing. He had a dream to bring premium coffee experiences to the average person. Nobody believed in his idea. He got rejected 242 times trying to get funding for Starbucks. 242 times. Let that sink in. He didn't wait for the perfect moment. He made the moment count. You waiting for a sign. This is it. You waiting for approval. You don't need it. You waiting for confidence. Action builds confidence, not the other way around. You think you need to be an expert before you begin. You don't. You become the expert by beginning. So what if you stumble? So what if you mess up? That's part of the process. That's the fire that forges the warrior. Nobody who's great at anything started out that way. Do you think Michael Jordan was great on day one? He didn't even make his high school varsity basketball team, but he kept showing up, kept taking the shot, kept betting on himself, and eventually the world had no choice but to notice. Your dream deserves that same fight. You think you need a guarantee that it'll work. There are no guarantees. But there is a guarantee that if you never try, you'll never know, and that never knowing will eat at you for the rest of your life. See, the clock doesn't stop ticking, and time is a silent thief. It'll steal your chances while you're busy waiting for perfect conditions. You don't get to pause life while you build confidence. You build it on the move. You build it when no one claps, when no one sees you, when no one believes, but you keep going anyway. You've got to believe so hard in what you're building that you don't wait for motivation. You move with discipline. You move with heart. You move because your dream is worth the sweat. No more waiting. Start small. Start scared. Start underfunded. Start with doubt hanging off your shoulders and fear breathing down your neck. But just start, because the sooner you begin, the sooner the world starts to feel your impact. And I promise you this, one day, when you're standing in the reality of the dream you once thought was impossible, you'll thank yourself for starting right here. Right now, so get up, push forward, make messy progress, take imperfect action, because the only perfect moment that ever existed is the one you create. This one, right now. Let's be honest. People aren't always going to support you. In fact, the minute you start chasing something bigger, louder, brighter than the life you've been living, you're going to feel it, that silence, that distance, that subtle shift in energy from the people you thought would be your biggest cheerleaders. And it hurts, but let me make this clear. You don't need everyone to believe in your dream. You just need to believe in it enough to carry it when nobody else will. Because sometimes the people closest to you, they won't understand, not because they're bad people, but because your dream was planted in your heart, not theirs. Maybe they've never seen anyone break out of the system. Maybe they tried and failed, and now they wear that pain like armor. Or maybe they just can't see the vision the way you do, because it wasn't meant for them to see. So don't get bitter, get focused. You want applause, you want support, build your own momentum, because when the results show up, so will the people. But until then, you've got to move in silence, you've got to work in the dark, you've got to grind behind closed doors with no one watching, no one clapping, and no one saying you're doing great. Because real dreams, they're built in the shadows, built when the world is asleep, built in early mornings and late nights when your body's tired but your soul won't let you quit. Let me tell you about a woman named Viola Davis. Born into poverty, abused, bullied. No one believed she could ever become anything more than just another statistic. But she had a dream to act, to tell stories that mattered, to change the way black women were seen on screen. And for years she was overlooked, given roles as maids, side characters, afterthoughts, but she kept going, kept training, kept auditioning, kept pushing, and now she's the first African-American actress to win the Triple Crown of acting, Oscar, Emmy, and Tony. Not because the world believed in her from day one, but because she believed in herself when no one else did. That's what it takes. If you're waiting for your family to get it, for your friends to support it, for strangers to hype it up, let me save you some time. You'll be waiting forever. They'll support it after it works. They'll repost you after you blow up. They'll clap for you after the work is done. But you have to move before the validation, before the celebration, before anyone says your name with respect. This is your dream, your fire, your responsibility. So stop looking over your shoulder. Stop waiting for someone to hold your hand. Stop expecting people to carry what you were built to lift on your own. Sometimes you'll have to walk alone, but that's where you find your strength. That's where you meet the version of you who's unstoppable. That's where your character is built, when no one's watching, no one's helping, and you show up anyway. Don't take it personal when they don't clap. Don't take it personal when they doubt you, because you're not doing it for applause. You're doing it to fulfill your calling, and when that moment comes, when your dream is no longer a dream, but your reality, you'll look back and realize that all the lonely nights, all the silent days, all the ignored posts and doubted moves were worth it, because you kept going. And that's what legends do. Everybody wants the glory, but almost nobody wants the grind. People love the idea of success, the spotlight, the praise, the dream house, the dream life, but the real question is, can you love the process? Can you show up when no one's watching? Can you be loyal to your dream when it's not giving anything back? Because this dream you carry, it's not just a wish, it's a responsibility. And responsibility demands consistency. You want to change your life, then you've got to stop treating your dream like a side hobby and start treating it like your lifeline, because that's what it is. Success doesn't come to the most talented, it comes to the most disciplined. You think it was easy for Kobe Bryant to wake up at 4 a.m. and hit the gym while everyone else slept. You think he wanted to? No. He did it because he had a mission bigger than comfort. He understood something most people never will. Discipline is the difference between a dreamer and a doer. Everybody has a dream, but very few have the discipline to show up on the days when motivation is gone, when energy is low, and when life is throwing punches from every direction. Discipline is what separates the ones who talk from the ones who live it. And here's what most people get wrong. They wait to feel ready. They wait to feel inspired. But inspiration is cheap. Discipline is rare. It's easy to post a quote. It's easy to get hyped for a day. It's easy to talk about your goals. But it's not easy to show up day after day, tired, stressed, doubting yourself, and still do the work. But that's what builds greatness. That's what makes your dream real. Let me tell you a story. There was a man working at a fast food drive-through, broke, invisible, but every night he went home and wrote screenplays. For years, nothing happened. No calls, no offers, no breakthroughs, but he kept showing up every single night, even when his lights were shut off, even when his fridge was empty, even when he had nothing but a $5 notebook and a pen. That man was Tyler Perry. Now he owns one of the largest film studios in America, not because he was lucky, because he was disciplined, and that discipline became the bridge between his dream and his reality. So ask yourself, are you willing to grind when it's hard? Are you willing to stay focused when no one's clapping? Are you willing to do the boring work, the unglamorous stuff that no one sees but everyone eventually respects? Because your dream doesn't need hype, it needs habit. It doesn't need big moments. It needs small, consistent steps taken daily, even when it hurts, even when it's quiet, even when it feels like you're going nowhere. But you are going somewhere. Every action is a brick, and brick by brick, you're building something the world can't ignore. So forget motivation. Fall in love with discipline, because discipline is the secret nobody wants to hear about. And when you master that, you become unstoppable. There will come a time when you want to quit, not because you're weak, not because you're lazy, but because chasing a dream, really chasing it, will break you open. It will test your limits, expose your wounds, force you to face everything inside you that's been hiding in the dark. And in those moments, when it's quiet, when it hurts, when progress feels invisible, you'll ask yourself, is it worth it? That's when you need to remember something powerful. This dream is bigger than you. It's not just about money. It's not just about proving people wrong. It's about legacy. It's about showing your little brother, your kid, your friends, your future family what's possible when you refuse to fold. It's about breaking the cycle. It's about being the first to rise so that others don't have to fall. It's about building something so real, so undeniable, that it echoes beyond your life. You know what true strength looks like. It's getting up one more time when your body says no. It's staying faithful to your path when no one's watching. It's carrying the dream even when it feels heavy as hell, because you know someone else is depending on you to make it. Let me tell you a true story. There was a man raised in poverty. His father left. His mother worked multiple jobs. He bounced between shelters, often went to school with holes in his shoes and an empty stomach. But he had a dream to be a motivational speaker, to give people hope because he knew what it felt like to have none. He got laughed off stages, slept in abandoned buildings, ate out of vending machines. But every day he remembered his why. He remembered his mom. He remembered what hunger tasted like. He remembered the pain, and promised himself no one in his family would feel it again. That man, Eric Thomas. Now, one of the most powerful voices in motivation today. Why? Because he remembered what he was fighting for. And now I ask you, what are you fighting for? Because you've got to anchor your dream to something real. Something that holds you steady when the winds come. You need a why, so deep that no excuse can drown it. A reason so personal that quitting feels like betrayal, not just to yourself, but to everyone watching you rise. Maybe it's your family, maybe it's your future, maybe it's the version of yourself you haven't even met yet, the one on the other side of the pain. Whoever or whatever it is, keep that close. Tattoo it on your mind. Let it fuel you when your tank is empty, because this journey, it's going to get tough. There will be nights you cry, days you doubt everything, moments where you feel like you've made no progress at all. But I promise you this, if you don't quit, you will not lose. So when you're exhausted, when you're drained, when the dream feels a million miles away, don't think about giving up. Think about why you started. Think about the promise you made. Think about the people watching you, quietly hoping you'll win. Because if you can do it, maybe they can too. This dream isn't just for you. It's for the people who need your story. For the ones who will rise because you refuse to stay down. For the ones who will dare to dream because you showed them how. So hold the line, dig your feet in, and remember, it's bigger than you.